New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
And now, a special edition of the Brosenberg Report. This is called MAGA Maniacs, a.k.a. Racists in the News.
So I think that we'll focus on the Russell Westbrook story and the Yes Julz story, because those are our stories sort of throughout the morning.
All right.
So Russell Westbrook, playing in Utah last night, got into it with a fan. Now, he claims the fan said something racial. The fan said something super disrespectful about, like, getting on his knees or something like that.
That's right.
Shauna, you want to play it or you want me to play it?
You can play
Right
it
there,
if you have it.
statement. Russell Westbrook's statement. That one. There you go.
Young man and his wife in the stands told me to get down on my knees like he used to. And for me, that's just completely disrespectful to me. I think it's racial. I think it's just inappropriate in the sense of there's no protection for the players. I think there are a lot of great fans around the world that like to come to the game and enjoy the game. But there are people that come to the game and to say mean, disrespectful things about me, my family. For many years, man, I've done all the right things. I've never done anything to hurt or harm anybody. I've never been in any trouble. Never fought a fan. Been in the league 11 years. Clean slate. Humble. Take whatever, all the criticism, disrespect will not be taken from me. I'm completely just sit back sometime and just take it like that. That's just one video, but throughout the whole game, since I've been here, especially here in Utah, every time I come here, it's a lot of disrespectful things I said, and I don't think it's fair to the players. And if I had to do it over again, I would say the same exact thing.
Now, there's a couple layers to this. So
The same exact thing you're about to say about the wife.
Well, he said I'll whoop your ass and your wife, right? Now, upon further review, it appears that this guy, the fan who acted all Mr. Innocent, like, oh, well, golly gee williger, we didn't say anything. I simply said, you should go ice your knees. That's all I said. And my wife, it was her first game, and she didn't say anything. Upon further review, this guy has tweeted nasty things about Russell Westbrook before that sounded racial. Hashtag MAGA. This is who this guy is. So he has zero credibility, just to be clear. He was absolutely saying offensive things to Russell Westbrook.
And he's been plotting on Russell Westbrook for months.
Plotting on him. So the only thing that Russell, which I think he has put a statement out now, did he tweet something? Because I think Russell Westbrook put out a statement saying that he shouldn't have said the wife part. The only mistake that Russell Westbrook made was saying, I'll whoop your ass and your wife. Even if the wife said something offensive, while I understand being angry and wanting to say that.
That's when you play yourself in the media, because the headline goes, Russell Westbrook threatens fan and wife.
He said, as for beating up his wife, I've never put my hand on a woman. I never will. Never been in any domestic violence before. But once he said the comment and his wife repeated the same thing as well, that's kind of how that started. I know you guys only got the tail end of the video, but the start of the video is way more important and more disrespectful than what you guys heard. Appreciate you all. And again, to the point that I was making in the room, some of us were arguing, that's the reason you just have to leave the wife part out, because that becomes part of a narrative. And you were just saying it. Obviously, you weren't going to hit the guy's
And Russell
wife.
Westbrook has a lot of credibility here, as he pointed out in his statement. He's never had any problems.
No, he is sensitive about people yelling things at him at games. Last week, a little kid
jumped up and touched his arm
and
or
touched
something.
him. And the way Russell described it was practically like he was assaulted. And you looked at it was a 4-year-old who touched his elbow.
He was like 9 or 12 or something. He was in that zone. He wasn't 4.
No, but it also
It was still was a kid, yes.
and it was annoying. I'm sure. By the way, I'm not trying to downplay that I would have been annoyed.
But if you're Russell Westbrook, now that we know that he feels a certain way or gets, talked trash to by fans, if you're not paying attention and somebody touches you from behind while you're on the sideline,
Sure, it could alarm
his
you.
assumption was probably it wasn't a kid. It was an adult touching me.
Absolutely, but here's the problem also. It's going to just keep getting worse now. Now the floodgates are open.
Right.
If you're an opposing fan, even if you're not a bad person and you're not going to say anything racial or anything,
You're going to antagonize.
you're still going to antagonize them.
Yeah, for sure.
Why wouldn't you do that now? But this dude.
And by the way, it's all fair game until you start talking about people's kids and wives and racial epithets and
get on your
and
knees.
it's all fair game. I think the players are used to that. They're fine with that. It's the fact that people are trying to touch people
and say things that are just way over the line.
Because there is this, whether it's it'll stand up in a court of law. There is the thing as fighting words. Right. That's a real thing.
Yeah. Is get on your knees like you're used to, one of them? I'm not.
Yes.
Well, I know, Shawnee, for you, I know it would.
All day.
For Shawnee, I know it would.
Shawnee, that flies. For me, I'd have been like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Be more specific.
That's what you're going to yell from the court?
Be more specific.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna do it like Cass
you be
one.
more specific?
Y'all do what y'all gonna do. I don't know what you're saying.
Y'all do what y'all gonna do.
I hear you. Now, in other race-related news, yesterday the internet was abuzz because Yes Julz was on a podcast.
Well, an hour ago, you said the audience didn't even know who she was. Now you want to bring it up again.
Well, we brought it up 8 times already. I feel we should put a bow on the whole thing. Now it's 9 o'clock. At 7:30, I was offended by it. At 9, I feel a little better about it. But she was on what was It's Biscuits podcast?
Yeah, I didn't even. Yo, shout out to It's Biscuit, love, bro, and Murder and
It's
Murder
Biscuit,
Mook.
Mook, we got to talk
About your sweater and how you sitting in that chair.
No, listen, Mook, listen, you could out-rap me all day, but I've been doing this interview thing longer than you. We got to talk about how you sit in a chair, okay? Your chair sitting game is not like your rapping game. No, but they did an interview with Yes Julz, who is a promoter. I don't know how to describe what she does. Mover and shaker.
Let's call her a tastemaker. How about that?
Influencer.
Yeah,
Yes.
influencer. There you go.
And there's always been stuff about her not respecting the culture. She's white. There was a time when she put up a picture of a shirt that said
N-words.
"Be lying" or something.
And should I wear this to a festival or not?
Yeah, am I allowed to wear this or not?
Absolutely not.
That was the consensus, I believe, from the internet. Also, Shawnee, and she got totally dragged for that. She got dragged several times for just generally not understanding how respect.
Let's just call it cultural insensitivity. How about that?
Cultural insensitivity.
And also appropriately dragged, because when people tell you, hey, we don't like that, instead of you getting arrogant and indignant about it,
Right. Say, why is that?
learn and apologize.
Yeah.
We saw this with Iggy Azalea.
And by the way, it ended up burying Iggy Azalea for a very long time. Like, Iggy's only starting to kind of creep back out now.
And I don't think she's going to make it back out.
all the way
Ain't
out.
nobody. What did Iggy Azalea contribute to hip hop that was so spectacular?
I liked her verse on No Mediocre.
I did.
Why would Iggy Azalea get a slot again? Why? Based on what?
Well, no, let's.
I don't want to go to that, but I'm just saying, in this circumstance,
way-
even with Yes Julz.
And by the way, Iggy Azalea at least was a rapper, and like, Yes Julz is. We don't even fully understand what you do. So, and I'm not saying that, by the way, she doesn't have a place and a right to contribute. I, of all people, would be the last person to say it. But as a white person in hip hop, I will tell you this. You certainly need to heed the words that other people of the culture of different races and ethnicities say to you, and not just simply believe you're right. That's the problem. You have to understand your positioning and listen to people, not just loosely be like. So then yesterday when she brought up Karen Civil and Scottie Beam, almost intentionally just to troll, what are you doing? Now you're doing...
She's trolling because she knows it's going to get it talked about, and she's hoping it gets her parties more popping and she gets more brand endorsements or whatever, however she monetizes her brand.
I hope 2019 is the year that people learn that the way to make it in the game isn't trolling. I would have thought the Tekashi lesson would have been big enough for people. Trolling isn't it. This is not the way to make it.
Well, I think the other thing that's continues to frustrate me is there's a piece of hip hop and hip hop culture that is club culture, creative culture, and it's not intellectual. And sometimes the people who are more intellectual and aware end up arguing with people who just get out here, party, and hang out with a gaggle of thoughts, pop pills, get high, and that's about it. Like, you can't, sometimes people out, Yes Julz's whole brand is based on partying and chicks with fat asses in Miami and live and rappers and that whole zone.
She would say it's also about music and her working with artists and things
in
of
that
nature.
zone. It's not intellectual.
Yeah,
It's not social awareness. It's not
being part of the conversation.
It's not
about
being
the
a
culture.
part of a greater awareness or an upliftment of culture. It's all about emotion. And, you know, she's in that Kanye, you know, give me another artist off in that zone. Even Travis. That's a different zone. You're not going to apply that world of hip-hop to just general hip-hop. That's like a suburban party culture hip-hop thing. It's different.
That's a really nuanced point that you're right. It has nothing to do with real deep care for the culture. It's
No.
It's about making money and partying.
That's it.
It's not really about the people just throw culture so loosely. It's not about. You think contributing to the culture is like hosting a party where a brand's involved and money gets made. That's not contributing to the culture.
That's monetizing the culture.
That's actually kind of the opposite of that.
And I think that's, you made a great point earlier when we're talking about is we're giving too much power to something that hasn't really contributed to the progress of hip-hop culture and doesn't really contribute to that. It's just parties and hot chicks and ball players and rappers. It's not really contributing to a greater awareness of culture and conversation. Right. So why are we giving it so much attention? The reason we are is because of social media, and we're watching these different worlds in hip-hop debate and go at one another. And we're watching somebody who has cultural insensitivities and continues to use black sensitivities specifically in hip-hop to create a conversation, which is why people are so pissed at Yes Julz.
Yeah, but the biggest problem is the people seemingly of the culture who co-sign her and give her a built-in pass, and then giving her attention to blow her up and make her bigger. Yesterday should not have been some huge moment. That's like the 8th huge moment she's had on the internet. For what? Adding up to what? No disrespect. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I don't know her very well. I met her one time. But like all these huge moments of talk for what? What's the output?
I know her. Cool with her. And I'm disappointed. That's why I said cultural insensitivity. Because you're not listening and you keep playing.
Right. Well,
and nobody's playing with you.
And keep making money and doing things inside the culture without listening to people who are trying to tell you things.
Well, that's the Brosenberg Report. Thanks for tuning in.
It's hot.